Friday mornings bring you guys good information and let you really talk to each and every one of us, and you get to hear some of the scoop that's going on, and we're just grateful for today. So welcome to each and every one of you. I'm going to start with Mr. Hessman. He is going to, and we will let that be our prayer that we just had. We always open with prayer, but we just had one, so that was great. So Mr. Hessman's got some announcements, as do I, and then we'll be turning it over to Mrs. Gill.
So, coming off of last month, when we talked about road construction and everything else, that you were the first group to hear this, since you're actually here in the morning, that starting tomorrow, we will be driving on the newly fresh paved cement, and no longer on the ripped up manhole sticking out of the ground and then everything else that's going on. So they're going to be starting the process of ripping up on this side. Now this side is going to go much slower than the other side, because it's been just about 6 weeks is all it's really been since they've started ripping it up and pouring everything down. There's been a great time. Now, some of the things that for you to know, on this side they're going to rip it up. The sidewalk for the most part is only going to be moved about 1 foot. So our footprint about where everything else where the road is pretty close to where it is going to be when they start moving this way. To get into it, so we will be coming off of the nice, freshly smooth, and we'll be going across like the crushed rock is how they're going to build the driveways over onto our existing. So just know and be careful that as people are driving in, you're going to be going across that to get in. We're actually also making sure that we're talking to them and getting the schedule that we're not going to do anything out here by the playground. The goal is not to do anything during any of the times that our kids are out there. So they're going to be doing that like after school hours or weekends or during the day, but just when our kids aren't going out for practice or playing in that area whatsoever. As you notice when you go down, also the road is a little bit lower on that other side. So they're going to be lowering this side to match that. So they'll be doing some of the grading as well. So even where our playground is, it's actually going to be grading going down to the actual road itself. So that's kind of all the process of what's going to be taking place. Last thing is, this side will not go nearly as fast because to lay cement, it has to be at least 40 degrees and going up for them to put cement down. So yeah, as anybody started watching the temperatures, it's not going to be 40 degrees for a while. So that's when they can do all the rip up, they can actually be laying down the rock, and they can get everything ready. They just can't put any cement down until it's over 40 degrees and rising for a little bit before they put anything down. So it might be several months before we actually start seeing a lot of actual traffic and everything else going on that side. Any questions about the road or any of the construction or anything? Correct. Everything's still the same, still northbound, still the same traffic flow that we already have set up. And hopefully we'll have less and less people going southbound on it.
At least we're out there very frequently for a few days.
And they've been coming in and back and forth and everything else. We have had some of our friends that are down south that still have southbound traffic going down to them, and some people that have been very pleasant going down and coming through. And so just remember to smile and show them some love, even if they're doing the wrong thing, and just work with them as they go through. One of the other things is our GAP program. We talked last month about how cool it would be. Well, our GAP program is actually, our kids have been making some little gifts to give to the road workers. So Monday after school, they're going to go out and give the road workers those gifts. So again, just another small way that our kids and everybody else is just being able to get back and show them some love as they're working and doing everything out there for us. So that's all I got. Thanks.
And the other good news, since they got this done, the plows, they can actually get through on that paved road, as opposed to, our concern was if we had had any snow on this side, that would have been impossible. So, the timing has worked out well, so we're glad about that. Okay, anybody that's been around the school knows that one of the things that I love to tell and share is our school history, and how we have had so many pivotal moments throughout our history when the Lord brought a gift to us and we were able to purchase land or build our buildings, or when the landowners said yes after many, many times of not saying yes. God's hand has been on our school, and it's been so amazing to see how it's been that way time and time again. Well, we've had one other little blessing that, I shouldn't say little, blessing that has come to us very recently, and it just so happened, and it sort of was miraculous how it came to be, that we understood that there was a lot across the street that was for sale. And we've sort of talked on and off for years with our facility people how nice it would be to have that for parking and or something, you know, that he could use, our facility manager. We understood that there was, the lot was for sale, but the people that were looking into purchasing it were probably not going to be who we would want as neighbors. We didn't know who it was at the time. We were just told from somebody who knew of us, not a part of our school, that you might want to look into this. And we did, and simultaneously a donor came forward and said, we will purchase that for you. And so we now have closed just this week on a 1 acre lot right across the street. So you might, at some point in time, not obviously this year while they're working on the road, but you might see eventually our buses parked over there or something like that. We'll figure out a good use for our school for that piece of property, but it then ensured, I think God has our back, He ensured the safety of our children by making that available to us, and we thank the Goddard Foundation. They came forward and gave that to our school. They have been generous donors to us, and we are grateful for that. So just as you say your prayers tonight, thank the Lord for what He does. He knows what we need before we know we need it, and the timing is always right. So I appreciate that. So I am now going to turn over to Mrs. Gills, and she's going to talk about some exciting new news for us.
Okay, awesome. Well, before we jump in, I want to hear, and I'm so excited, there's so many of you here today, it makes me happy. Why did you choose to come to this one? What are you hoping to find out? That is one of a teaching technique. What do you know? What do you want to know? So what do you want to know today? And that's going to help me kind of direct my presentation.
Dual credit.
Dual credit. You want to hear about dual credit classes. Awesome. What else?
Just college preparation.
College prep. Are our kids ready to go to
the
college?
right solution for high school.
Okay. Awesome. As a 6th grade mom,
yes.
Awesome question. Any other questions kind of looming in your mind?
As a senior mom, I'm just always looking forward,
Yeah.
being prepared for next year.
Yeah, are we ready? Where can I get more money? That's really what you want
that's
to know.
always
Yeah. I'm with you. Okay,
My goal
that
is to
helps.
pay less next year than I pay now.
There you go. We do our front loading. I get it, and it's going to work. We'll talk about that. Well, we've listed or named our presentation, Growing into Their Future, SCA's Academic Forecast and Tall Trees. And that's what you get when you have a former English major and my assistant who has a design background. Sometimes we wax a little poetic. But as we were thinking and putting the presentation together, what was in my head, Jeremiah 17:7-8. Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord and whose trust is in the Lord, for he will be like a tree planted by the water that extends its roots by a stream and will not fear when the heat comes. And his leaves will be green, and it will not be anxious in a year of drought. Never will he cease to yield fruit. That is our end goal. When you're in a public school system, you're going to hear a lot about rigor and college preparedness, and we have all of that. We're a school, we get it, we want to be a Colossians 3:23 school, everything with excellence. But our goal is bigger than that, because it doesn't say if the drought comes. It says when the drought comes. We want our kids anchored to the point that nothing shakes them. That is our ultimate goal. So it's much bigger than academics. I'm going to be focusing on academics, but we're also going to talk about that ultimate reason of why Christian education. All right, some of the overview of what we'll be doing today. Dual credit offerings on the rise. More scholarship opportunities on the horizon through the A+ program, Kaufman, athletics and activities. We'll talk about that a little bit. And Mrs. Eames is here with me and willing to jump in. And I want to be kind of informal, even though we're being videoed. So if you have a question, just jump in with it at any time. Technology front, what's going on with Summit Technology and the Missouri Innovation Campus and SCA? 3D printing, online submissions, we're going to talk about all of that. And then internship program here at SCA and how it's consistently growing at our school. Dual credit. Currently, SCA offers 55 dual credit hours. Next year, Lord willing, and everything go as projected, we will have now 70 credit hours available and open to our students. Now, besides having dual credit for Spanish, we will have French, 6 credits available in French. English literature, so we already have Comp 1 and Comp 2 for gen ed courses that students can cross off the list. We're going to be adding English literature concurrently with our junior English class. So students will be doing a little additional reading, longer essays, a different testing format if they choose to take dual credit, and that would also take care of if they have a major that requires a gen ed course in literature. Psychology course, which is something that will qualify for most people, that will be taught by our wonderful Chantal Ferguson. And if you see her, you need to give her a high five. She graduates with her doctorate this month. So we're super excited about that. And music appreciation, which also takes care of a gen ed in the fine arts. Mrs. Nagy, high five her. She also is graduating this month with her master's in music. So we're so proud of our teachers. 70 credit hours total. I do always need to say it depends on student enrollment in those courses. If we have 2 kids sign up for music appreciation, we're not going to offer it. But we've primed the pump well, and we'll work on getting that started and happening. I had the opportunity to, I'll just throw this in, go to a North Kansas City School District Board meeting. I also am in courses right now to finish my doctoral degree. And part of my requirement was go to another school's board meeting. So schlepped up there on Thursday night. And they were doing a huge presentation on how excited they were to have increased their AP courses. And maybe that's been a question in your mind. Why don't we do AP or IB? That was thoroughly researched. Number one, dual credit requires a teacher with a master's degree with 18 credit hours in that field. AP requires a teacher who's gone to AP training, okay? Next, AP courses, you have to teach that particular material as is, and the students have to take a test at the end of the course and get a 3 or higher. Some of which pass, some of which don't. So that becomes tricky for kiddos, because if you have a student with test anxiety or they just blow it on that exam, they put in all of that work and it doesn't do them any good as far as dual credit goes. With a dual credit course, as long as you're working with your college, you know what you're going to do and where you're headed, everything transfers, and all of the work that the students does counts. Plus, you have more qualified teachers. The other thing that stops public schools from going this direction is it does cost families money. And so because they have to pay, you have to pay for that dual credit. But I had this table put together. Look at the savings that happen. So at SCA, I just picked a few courses, okay? This is the cost of the different dual credit courses that we have for you. If you were to go to the University of Missouri or UMKC or Missouri State, of course, if you're in a private school, that price raises dramatically. But I just picked 3 to show you, even with the least expensive, there's quite a savings. Broken down a different way, at MU, you're going to save $850 for one 3-credit course. If you take 15 hours, which is on average what our students have when they graduate, you're saving $4,250. So it is a great deal for our students. Now that being said, we have an amazing thing at our school, which is a positive peer pressure to be involved. At other schools, including the board meeting I went to, the big question is, how do we get our students to take the classes? Because about only 20% are. Our statistics are 80% of our students are in dual credit courses. It is the thing to do and what they want to do because they're excited about their future. They have great parents inspiring them as well. And actually, I'm going to be pulling in some parents because I'm a little worried about pendulum sweeping too far to the academic side. Right now, we have some kids in 4 and 5 dual credit courses, which in this academic dean's eyes is too much, because at college you take 4 to 5 classes and that's it. You're not in 8 periods and band and football and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's much different. So we want to keep our kids balanced and teach them how to manage academic excellence and have a life and not be stressed out or, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm going to be pulling in a focus group so that we can really sit down and talk. I want to hear from the mom's perspective. What's life like so that we can figure out from our end how to put some good boundaries around that. And as we add courses, we only expect that to increase. Another idea that we're kicking around, and just pray, you know, for us as we add these things and do these things behind the scene. We want everything directed by the Lord, but we've even thought about, do we start offering some of these things in the summer so that they could just take a summer course and then take care of, you know, hey, I've got my psychology done, I have my music and preach done, and I see some of you going, yes. So, okay, we like that. So, you know, we're praying and working on that. Of course, that takes somebody to administrate that. You got to get all the T's crossed and I's dotted to make it work. But we are thinking of that. We want our students to have everything they need. I don't know. We're talking. We're getting a lot done this year. All right, will my credits transfer? This is the hot button question. And every once in a while, I'll have this wild rumor flying around. The credits didn't transfer. Well, let me tell you how this works. Unfortunately, Mrs. Eames has not been able to memorize every college and every major, how that works. We do have that as part of our job description. No. We have learned a lot about a lot of colleges, but we have to work with parents. All right, let me tell you a story. We had a student a few years ago that wanted to go to MU. Great, we worked with MU, we made phone calls, we talked with admissions counselor. Particular questions were about dual credit Spanish. Now, what is the job of an admissions counselor? Yes, determine if it's going to work and to get you in the door. They are supposed to sell the school, right? That's their job. They're the admissions counselor. And so the other thing about admissions counselors too is there's a lot of turnover that happens in that department as well in colleges, okay? So they're going to talk in sweeping terms and discuss things in general as they know it. So at MU, in general, if you take 2 classes of Spanish, you are done with your gen eds. But this particular student was going into an honors journalism course. In the honors journalism department, you had to have 15 credits of Spanish in order for it to be crossed off. Had he taken all 4 sections, he would have been fine. He took 3. And so do I go to MU and start in Spanish 4? Or do I start all over? And it was so hard for that family. You have to talk to the department chair of the major your child is interested in. We can sit down with you. I sat down this summer with a student and we called multiple colleges that he was interested and asked about world religions. Did he want to take it for honors just to have the weight on his transcript? Or did he want to pay the $60 a credit hour to make it count as dual credit? So we called. Out of the 5 colleges we called, 3, it would transfer in and take care of a religion gen ed requirement. 2, it would only be an elective, all right? They're all going to transfer as electives. None of them, both colleges that we use, SBU and SLU, are North Central accredited. The only place they do not transfer to are like Ivy Leagues or WashU, because they don't want anybody's anything, and they don't have to take anybody's anything. So that's another thing. We do have students that are looking at that level of college, and we tell them, don't pay for the dual credit. Take the course, get the weight on your transcript, but if that's your end game goal, don't pay for it because it's not going to transfer for you. But ultimately, that is on you. Now, to check. There are links like this, and I won't take time today to go to this, but Mrs. Eames has placed them, tell me where.
Naviance.
Okay, on Naviance, which is a portal that we use. It is an online program, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. but that you can click on it and you can choose what college your child is interested in. And it will tell you how the SBU course transfers to that particular college and give you equivalencies. Then you have to look at the gen eds for that particular major and say, is that transferring in course taking care of a gen ed, or will it just be an elective? And I'll tell you, there is nothing wrong with things transferring in as an elective as well. I am a mom of 2 kiddos that graduated from here with lots of dual credit. One of them graduated a semester early. The other one was able to finish a program in 4 years and was the first person to graduate in that program in 4 years for over 7 years. So that was really exciting to us as parents because it saved the big bucks, all right? Any other questions about dual credit before we spring into the next thing? Okay, our ultimate goal here is that we will have every gen ed available for those students that want to take it. Now, another thing you need to understand is there are some scholarships that you can only qualify if you're going to be at the college 4 years. So if you get all your gen eds out of the way while you're in high school, you're not going to get or qualify for those scholarships. You'll qualify for transfer scholarships, which are different. So you have to just crunch the numbers. And again, Mrs. Eames is here to help you work through that. If you need help with that, all you have to do is pick up the phone and make that appointment. And we will be starting advising appointments here next week, okay? And we've already started with the junior high kiddos. It is shocking to us how many people that don't ultimately come, how many people we have to chase down. This is your moment. Have her one-on-one. And some of those come my way. Also, I am happy to sit down and talk with you. This is the exciting part. Their life is beginning, you know. It's wonderful. And you want to gather as much data as possible and talk to as much wise counsel as you can to make those good decisions. I'll just throw one more piece in. Do not make a college choice without taking your child to the campus. Here at SCA, one of the things we do is you can have 2 college visits a semester starting junior year that don't even count against your absences. We want you to do that so badly. All through junior high, first 3 years of high school with my son, Truman, we are going to Truman. That is a great school. This is what we're doing. We went there. He went, I hate this. It's in the country. There's nothing to do. I'm like, they're studying. No. It was just stepping onto the campus. And most of you are college graduates. You get that. But it's amazing that kids get something stuck in their head, but they've never really been there. I love KU basketball. Well, you might not love the campus when you step onto it. So take the students there, have some fun with it. And we have graduates all over, and we can even help hook you up. Sometimes we have our seniors stay with our college students and visit with them. So that's pretty cool when that happens. All right, let's talk about Show Me the Money. We've rolled out our A+ program. Now, we've done a lot of work. We're still finishing up everything we have to do to be designated as a school. We look for that all to come by May 1st. We had 50% of 9th through 12th grade parents show up. Guess how many students have turned in A+ applications?
1. As of yesterday, 6.
Okay, now, here's the deal. Remember, A+ is not just about going to Longview. If you go to Longview or a community college, it does cover all of your tuition. The majority of our students, unless they're baseball guys, they aren't going to community college. But here's what we shared in that meeting. It's a bargaining chip for you. We have qualified for A+ scholarship, which would be $1,000 if we chose to go to X. How can you match that? Many, many, many schools will throw $1,000 a year at you just because they want the rest of the money. And your students easily qualify for this A+ program. The only thing that can be a little bit of a sticker is they have to have 50 hours of mentoring or tutoring in. But we just got permission that those hours can even have been done in the past. So kids that worked basketball camps or cheerleading camps, it has to be something on our campus, but all those hours count. Writer's Corner, Math Fellows, Tech Fellows, all these different things. And Mrs. Eames has paper after paper that we have prepared and would be super excited if more than 6 kids came and picked up in the office. So encourage your child. You never want to put aside free money, and you want your child to understand that. I will say, this means more to you as parents than it does to the students. So help walk them on in there and get them excited about it.
Where do we get the application at?
Mrs. Eames' office, yes sir.
And I have
Yeah.
some here.
And so, oh, you brought some today? Awesome. Okay. So here's the basic requirements. You can just kind of see that. The attendance rate is averaged over all 4 years. Sometimes parents get a little, because they had a big vacation one year. But as long as it averages at 95% for all 4 years, you're good to go.
Can I ask you a question?
You betcha.
My nephew went up to 11th grade, and then this year he went to Truman. Does that program, the A+ program, transfer from everybody?
If they are transferring from a designated school, that's an awesome question. So if a family has homeschooled and comes in here their sophomore year, it won't work. You have to be in an A+ school for 3 years. Now, all the private schools in the area, and we have been a lead in helping everybody, we are all doing it. Kansas City Lutheran, the Catholic schools. So if they're transferring from one of those schools that are going through the designating process right now, it will.
So my nephew can apply for that. If he's been tied, you might know.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. We actually talked about Ben. I don't know if it was with Vicki.
No, I talked to Ben, I've been communicating.
Did you
via
talk-
email.
Yeah, he is gonna be good to go. Yes.
Oh, awesome.
Yep.
That is so awesome.
And that's timing's perfect, right?
Yeah.
So you say they have to be in the school for at least 3 years, so would a sophomore or a junior now at this school still qualify or
A
not?
sophomore now, yes. Because we're being designated this year,
Right.
it's considering their sophomore year, it's designated, yes.
And
So our seniors.
Yeah,
Seniors
and
can't
juniors,
do
and
it.
seniors.
Yes.
Yeah, seniors this year are getting it. They're grandfathering.
For grandfather,
Yep.
okay.
Yep. So it's awesome. So I can expect a rise in applications to come in. Tell your friends. Also wanted to touch on, I mentioned the Kaufman Scholarship. Talk to Mrs. Eames about that. People tend to think that's just for like inner city. It's not. Once you fill out the FAFSA, you find out how much your family is supposed to be able to donate to your school. My husband and I laughed out loud the first time we looked on there and saw, you should be able to donate. We're like, and not eat for the next year. But it's open to more people than you think, so explore that also. Also want to let you know there's a meeting coming that Coach Questenberry is putting together to talk about the increase in athletic scholarships that our students are getting and opportunities and how to really formulate a great package to present your child. You really put together kind of a mini mag for your kid and ship it off to different colleges. So he'll be talking about that. And then also music scholarships, drama scholarships, etc. Again, I have to go back to experience. My own child, 75% of tuition at William Jewell, music. Okay? So once your kid finds their thing, there's money in it. You just have to dig down and find it, all right? And we can help you do that. Internships and technology at Summit Christian. Just want to overview the Learning Commons. You've probably heard a lot about that. But when we say we want to inspire students to achieve their God-given potential, what does that really mean, all right? Inspiration is about making them passionate about learning. When these kids start forming study groups on their own, not because the teacher said you will form a team and work together. No, when they're calling each other, when they're going places, grouping together to learn together, when they're being proactive to get tutoring because I don't quite understand this and I want to get a good grade, then we win. Ultimately, like parenting, education is successful when they don't need us and the way through it. Right? They still want us, but they need us because they got it. They know how to do it on their own. So that is why we really wanted to invest in a commons, a place where we could have students work together easily, that they could charge their iPads. All right, I am that person that my iPad is almost always dead. So these tables have chargers in the middle of them. There's space to work together, and there's also space where they can work by themselves. You go into our learning commons before school, during lunch, after school. It's open all day long. Even during their life preps, students will come in and you will find them working, studying, working in our corners. We have 3 corners and there's a 4th one on the way. This is literally 2 students, and these tables have glass tops working out of paper right there, and that's cool, right? So now I'm not just outlining on boring notebook paper, I'm using marker and writing on furniture. So we got to have the cool factor, the inspirational factor, but we have already had about 500 students through the Writer's Corner this semester. When it started slow, but now students help because it helps. And they are directed not to write the paper for them or edit, but to ask those leading questions and help them walk through and learn how to do it themselves. Our students are already, the fellows that have been in Writer's Corner are working in universities right now, getting jobs as writing fellows there. And all of our students are reporting back that they are great writers and they didn't even know it, okay? They're editing one another's papers. This year we opened up a math corner as well, and it's open 0 through 9th hours. I'm going to keep it real here. We're priming the pump on that one. We have students coming in. It's growing all of the time. We're not exactly where we want to be with students going, I need to learn more math, but we're going to get there, okay? And working on advertising and getting students in there to use. We have 30 plus math fellows volunteering hours. And the best way to retain information, of course, is by teaching it. So even by being in the Writer's Corner and the Math Corner, they are learning more. We just had a meeting a couple days ago with one of our volunteers in the Math Corner, and another idea came to us, so we're going to start doing ACT tutoring. We just ordered all of the materials yesterday out of the Math Corner. So that will be another reason to get students in there and realize, oh, I like working with this. Technology Corner, Mr. Welch oversees that for us. And we have fellows in there just to help students when my iPad's not working, there's a glitch, I can't send this through turnitin.com, those kinds of things. And the next one that Mr. Mickelson is really pushing us to now is a language corner to get help with all Chinese, Spanish, and French. So look for news on that. Internships and partnerships. It's been very exciting for us that our internship program has grown from 2 students in the year 2010-11 to this year we have 25 students interning. And as we are really defining their 5-year plans and helping students make sure they get everything they need early, then that senior year they can take 2 hours and try a job on for size. Here are some of the companies, and I know this is kind of small, but Rock Hill Orthopedics, KU Research Hospital, Mid-States Heating and Cooling, St. Luke's on the Plaza, Dr. Fristo, Turn the Page Marketing, Summit Rehab, Hill Promotion, Dave's Auto Repair, Scott Thomas Photography, our school, Lee Summit Fire Department, Jackson County Gastrology, Northern Mutual. These are all, I mean, I couldn't put them on there, but you can see there's a wide variety because these students have a variety. Not everyone is interested in immediately jumping into college. They want to start something else. And this is what we want is our kids to hear from the Lord. Am I supposed to go on the mission field for a year? Am I supposed to work? Am I supposed to go to college? Am I supposed to be local? Am I supposed to head to the East Coast? Whatever. That they're hearing from the Lord, and the path that they've taken here has prepared them for their call. that is what our goal is. And so trying it on for size, and honestly, some kids get into an internship and go, I seriously hate this. And switch at semester, which that's wonderful. They haven't just wasted half their college doing something they didn't want to do. Questions?
So are there SCA students interning in ministry?
Yes, absolutely. We've had, I didn't put that up there, but we've had a student intern actually with Mr. Sam and work with flat trips, and we've had people at LSE next door there. So 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there certain years they can intern, or is that every year?
Senior year.
Oh, senior
We
year.
want them to do that their senior year.
I just had a comment. This has been the best thing for my senior.
Oh, tell us about it.
Loved it. Well, first she took a photography classes at kind of an easy high school grade. And I thought, oh, this will be fun. It'll be easy. Fell in love with it. Mrs. Velasquez just totally, touched his heart with her passion. And then he's an intern for Scott Thomas Photography. He has been able to go out with her on weekends and be her assistant shooting weddings. He now has, he's taken several seniors, their senior pictures. It's helping him, it's helping them, because, these are parents that are willing to pay him, or he's willing to donate it, and he'll take, they're not professional, but that, it's a win-win situation. But he absolutely has loved it, and this has, he now wants to go into photography and like the digital arts, graphic design, and it's been because of the photography class here and because of his internship. Yeah, it's great.
And it's so fun for us when they do come back sparkly. Still, I got to take out an engine today. Lucky. That's that inspiration that we're looking for.
That's all on the student and parents to find that, or
No,
do you
sir.
guys help with that?
Mrs. Talkin, who is a rock star, there's an application process they go through. Once they start their advising with Donna Eames and say, I'm interested in internship, they take an application, and just like they're applying for a job, it's part of the process, and we find out what they want. And then she has gone out and found all of these different internships for them. And if we really don't want students, sometimes parents go, they can come work at our company. We really don't want that, because they can work at your company anytime. We want them to get other kinds of experiences. So she will make that hookup happen. And she works all summer. And this was a big summer for her with 25 kids interning. But she got every single student placed.
And the internship class is so much more than them just going out and working with these companies. She is working there, working on their resume. They're doing mock interviews. They're learning what to wear, how to act, how to behave when you're going there. Your dress code when you go out there, what you're representing. And I think that just piggybacks to what the school is saying too. When you leave here, what are you going to do? Or who are you going to be? And she's doing, they did a thing at a local restaurant about how to eat in public and the proper way of eating. And so these are all huge life skills.
And that was a
change.
A change that we've done the past couple of years. They used to intern 5 days a week, but when Mrs. Talking came aboard, she said, let me do these overall job skills also, so that they literally have homework along with their internship, and it's been awesome. Comment back here.
So I'm listening to all of these different things, and I'm wondering, at what point should my child, should I be sitting down with these different people saying, let's map out the next 4 years? Not classes, because I know we do that in 8th grade, but looking at internships and
it will start at 8th to 9th grade advising appointment. That is 8th grade. Still, you only have, it's like junior high, 2 choices, unless you decide to do Yes Fitness and do your PE off campus. But sophomore year, everything breaks wide open. This has been something Mrs. Eames has really been working on, because the clearer the target, the straighter the arrow. You know where you're shooting. And it's not that I'm going to decide what I'm going to be when I'm 16. They may change their mind 100 times, but if you can get them excited about something, then we can start going in a direction. So we will really start those intense. Mrs. Eames has been directed to me specifically, no matter what, chase them, grab them, get every sophomore parent in the door with their child. Some of the other years, the child can just say, hey mom, this is what I want to do, and it works. But that sophomore year, a lot happens. The other thing we are really pushing is please take that ACT test for the first time summer of sophomore year. They're not going to do great, but that is not a bad thing. Again, personal experience, I had my son do it his freshman year because I needed him to know he didn't know everything and to feel desperate. You know, like I have to study now because I didn't. But by taking that, it's suddenly like, oh my gosh. And it will show them where they need to focus their energy. So we're going to talk about ACT a little bit now. But that sophomore year is so critical because colleges really are looking, by the time you finish your junior year, all the big scholarship money, which is what we want our kids to get, is given away November 1st, senior year. So there's still more out there, but we really need to have every duck in a row by November 1, senior year. The right classes on the transcript, the right scholarships being chased, the volunteer hours being done. Even if you're not going to do A+, you will hear in your advising meeting, you need to be finding something where you can lead for free, someplace where you can shine. You need to have a sport. Who cares if it's here? You need to have some kind of a sport activity so that you can show, I am a well-rounded, holistic person. So you just find those things and plug it in. Partnerships. Okay, this is a secret. We haven't even told the board yet. So I asked Linda, can we please talk about it a little bit? Because we're really excited. I want to qualify that. We're excited to some extent. You know that the R7 is opening that beautiful new building, right? With the STEM career choices, Missouri Innovation Campus, all of that. I think about 15% or so of our students could be interested in that. So we are in conversations right now with them to see how it would work for our students to go there. We have one student doing it this year. We've had one student in the past. But we want to be able to advise properly into those careers. Now, we get into some philosophical differences, okay? We're only recommending at the junior and senior year, really the senior year the most, but that campus is a very pragmatic philosophy. But I do recommend for those kids that are interested in cybersecurity, networking, programming, maybe allied health careers. There's something I'm going to talk about more with that. But if they're completely convinced that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, that can be a good option. Our philosophy is not a completely pragmatic one. Yes, we want them to have a practical education that they can use in the world. But what we're really about is idealism. The Renaissance man, the student with a spiritual foundation that can evaluate and create, okay? We are trying to develop Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson kind of thinkers versus people that just program. The Missouri Innovation Campus is funded by businesses that are using it as a pipeline. So you get out of there, you can get a job at a Cerner. But guess what? I have 2 graduates working at Cerner right now. Okay, so it's a niche for a certain kind of student, and we will advise and talk about that. What it's like is that our kids would go there in the morning, and with some adjustments which shall not be named at this point, then they would be here for 5 hours of the day and still be able to get everything in. They graduate with an SCA diploma and be able to take advantage of some of the technology that's over there, just 5 minutes down the road. So we're excited about that potential partnership and look for a meeting coming up in December. I just got my email back from the director, and we're working on a date where they're going to come and talk to us about that. Okay, any questions about anything on here? Let's talk ACT for just a minute. Okay, this is our 2017 kids. You're like, what? Well, we've been tracking as they've taken the ACT. This number is only going to go up as our kids continue taking the ACT, get a best score that they want. Here's where we are right now. All right, now, what I've put across here is where we're at right now. And every single senior took the test last year, right? because Missouri's giving that test away to juniors, which, to be fair to the state of Missouri, if you've read their stats, it's all dropped because every student in the state did not take the test. The low-end kids didn't. So now they're scrambling, trying to figure out how to make those numbers go back up. But we are very excited about our numbers being as high as they are. On the left is our 2017 kids right now. Remember, this number will still go up. So look for it in the fall of next year. This is the Missouri average number. Okay, this is the Missouri average from last year, actually. So this is the 2016, how kids did in science, 20.4. How we're doing in science, 23. And I'll give you some more numbers in just a minute. But this is real clean on this slide. In Missouri, 20.6 in reading. Us, 25. Can I get a shout out for F and F? I know it's painful. I know it's painful, but it works. Okay? Our students, we have an average IQ base here. We have some super smart kids with great genes, but we are overall an average IQ base. We have a 25 in reading on average. All right? Math, 23. Average Missouri, 19. English, 25.7. 19.7. Are we doing our job? Yeah. Here's where the scores if you're just a number kind of person. This is what ACT said last year you needed on the test to be thoroughly college ready. So I'll just give you a minute to kind of digest that.
Kim, talk a little bit about the math, diving into the math.
Oh, yes, okay. We have discovered an interesting problem, and the discovery started with the impetus of talking with Samuel Holland, who was our first 36 on the ACT. He missed one